Welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for the folks on the live stream. My name is Hamdan. I am part of the Google Cloud team, and I lead our backup disaster recovery partnerships. So my role is to build a deliberate data protection portfolio strategy with our partners and our internal teams, as well as a go-to-market for execution. So a little fun fact about me. I actually jumped from a plane. I did skydiving. My wife hated it. I actually didn't tell her I was going to do it until I did. So I definitely need a backup plan, you know? And just so notice, it's called Backup, Archive, and Disaster Recovery. That's an acronym for BADR. I was told I should change my name and remove the E, and it's just a perfect match, so awesome. So welcome, everybody. We're going to get going here. We're going to start with a little bit about cloud, data protection, and the cloud opportunity, and then talk about the partner landscape. So we have partnerships that we work with, industry-leading partnerships to drive these solutions, backup, archive, and DR solutions to market. Then I'm going to invite up on stage several partners and customers to actually give, any examples of how these solutions are actually practically, leveraged in GCP right now. And we'll hear from their experiences and their journeys as they adopted Google Cloud and the partner solution for these specific use cases. Then we'll wrap it up. Does that sound like a plan? Yeah. Awesome. All right, we'll get going. So we all know that data is growing. Per IDC, data is going to grow to 175 zettabytes by 2025. Just to give you guys context, that is 175 billion terabytes. That's a lot of data, 440% growth of data compared to last year's alone. And what is that 175 comprised of? 42 of that capacity will be shipping over the next 7 years. 90 zettabytes of the data will be created by IoT devices by 2025. We've heard about IoT devices and sensors creating data. That data is just part of it. And then by 2025, 49% of the data will be stored in a public cloud environment. And again, this is according to an IDC report that was published in 2018. And nearly 30% of that data generated will be consumed in real time by then. So a huge opportunity, huge amounts of data being generated, and that will continue to drive costs using traditional approaches. And we know the cloud market in general is doubling over the next several years. The reality is only 5% of that data that has been generated so far has been analyzed. So imagine the potential loss of revenue, profitability, and customer satisfaction that could have been realized if organizations had put that data to work, deriving insights from it and accelerating decision time to using those insights. And the last piece here is the cloud. Given all this opportunity, the cloud backup market, according to Market Research Future Report, is also expected to grow to nearly $5.6 billion. And that is driven by factors such as lower costs, greater efficiencies by leveraging cloud backup versus on-premises backup solution, as well as the adoption of SaaS solutions and obviously the huge amounts of data that's being derived. So what does that mean from your perspective in data protection with Google Cloud? First, as you've heard this week, the whole message is all about modernizing your infrastructure, leveraging the innovations that Google has, that we've made over the years, and now we're applying that, and we're looking to extend that business continuity strategy that you have built into Google Cloud, specifically from a backup perspective, and that is backing up your on-premises workloads to the cloud, as well as backing up your cloud workloads, and then archival for the data tiering, tiering to different classes, and lastly, disaster recovery. So again, extending Google Cloud extending your business continuity strategy into Google Cloud, leveraging that consistency that we have in our storage classes, and we'll talk about that here in a second, to help reduce that cost and again, take advantage of the infrastructure that basically that runs Google.com search and Gmail, as well as Maps. Now we're extending that over, and we're applying that same capability, that same intelligence, that same scale to the backup and DR space as well. In addition, from a security perspective, you heard Urs in his keynote yesterday mention in a report that Google Cloud was rated the highest had the highest reliability across any cloud provider out there. And that was not a report that that we commissioned. That was a third-party independent report, and that speaks volumes to the amount of security that has been built in by the Google engineers, building up our infrastructure to run our own business, and again extending that over to you with encryption of data at rest as well as in motion, and writing once and reading many compliant storage. So that's an important aspect for the highly regulated financial industries and government, public sector, and to be able to not alter that data that's been archived, as well as KMS and IAM integrations also available in storage. And then the last piece, now that you've leveraged Google Cloud to back up and archive your data, you're now able to go and do more with that data, leverage those capabilities that we have from an AI and ML perspective, to achieve those desired business outcomes. As you saw on the previous slide, only 5% of the data that has been generated is being analyzed and actually being taken advantage of. This is an opportunity to take it, to utilize the capabilities that are built in, the intelligence that is built in within Google Cloud, to derive those insights and leverage, the capabilities that we have with the TPUs that we have that are 15 to 30% faster than contemporary GPUs and CPUs out there. So from a storage perspective, so as you're backing up and you're archiving your data into storage, how many of you heard of the announcement that we did yesterday around the archive storage class? Right? What do you guys think? Good? Awesome. So it'll be available later this year, obviously, but realize this is the industry's first online archive tier. Online archive tier. So it's not cold per se. It is cold storage, but at the end of the day, it's available, right? So as you see here, the price is going to start at $1.23 per terabyte, again, depending on your regions and locations. And there was a session yesterday, hopefully you guys attended that as well, around storage classes, and that was recorded, and we can, you can go into that a bit more. But the main thing here is across all our storage classes, you have a unified experience because we provide a single API for you to integrate to our storage, that provides that consistent performance across any of the storage classes, regardless of the hotness and coldness of the class. As well as, the guaranteeing that listing will always be up to date, so strongly consistent listing. As well as it's scalable. Again, it's scalable because of what we talked about earlier. That's just that planet scale infrastructure that we've built. You saw in one of the keynotes that we started out with 2 Eiffel Towers worth of steel, and now was it 19, I think it was? And it's just beginning. And we launched a couple, data centers this week, and, a lot more to come in the future. So with that, we do, like I said earlier, we have partnerships that we've developed, over the time, that are industry leaders in the data protection space, and that cover different types of use cases. So the use cases, again, from a backup perspective, archive and DR, partners can have their solutions provide, solve problems for you and customers across these different needs. And again, from a backup perspective, we're differentiating between backup of on-prem to cloud workloads as well as cloud workloads in general. And that's across any cloud, by the way. Again, back to that hybrid and multi-cloud strategy, we're taking that forward, and the partners are also working with us to take that forward. In addition, we have partnerships in the tape and transfer arena. So think about all your tape data that you have, how do you take that data, ingest it back into the cloud, into the cloud, so you can do what you need to do with it, and then how do you transfer that? So to give you context, these are the partnerships that we have. We're very keen to continue to grow the partnerships to make sure that we're meeting your needs. I see a lot of pictures, by the way. All of these slides will be available to everyone. Feel free to take pictures, but they will be available as well as the recording. And my ask of all of you, both customers and partners in the room, if there are solutions, partners that you are working with that are, not up there, please let us know. Submit a question in the dory, or grab me afterwards, and let's chat about that for a minute. So with that, let's hear from our customers or partners. What we're going to do is, again, talk about cloud backup, and we're going to invite Haiku, who is one of our backup as a service partners, as well as Nobusoft, which is they're going to bring a unique perspective into today's conversation, because they're not just a customer, but they're also a Google Cloud partner. So that they'll be able to provide both of the perspective, as well as the archival and backup of on-prem workload use case with Cohesity and Stanford Medicine. And last but not least is to talk about the disaster recovery use case, and we'll invite up Activia and ETB Financial. So with that, let me introduce and welcome on stage Subbiah from Haiku and Santiago from Nobusoft. So Subbiah, you've been in the industry for a long time, data protection space, welcome. And Santiago, you are the co-founder of Nobusoft and the CTO. And congratulations on your win this week as the LATAM Breakthrough Partner of the Year. So great job there. Take it away. So tell us a little bit about your solution. What's the benefit from a use case perspective for the audience, and then we'll hear a little bit about the engagement from your perspective.
Thank you, Badr. First off, thank you very much for inviting us. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting us to the show here. First thing, let me tell you about our company itself. Haiku, we have been in business for over 20 plus years. Most people probably think I've never heard of you, because we used to be in a different brand, and we rebranded ourselves about a year ago. And as a company, our focus is just data protection and monitoring. That's what we do. We have worked on at least 8 different backup products in the market today. So from an engineering strength perspective, we have significant capabilities here. We have hundreds of engineers specifically focused on data protection, and that's our core genesis of the company. And I think that's something we really pride ourselves off. In some sense, my sales guys sometimes take offense of this. We have more engineers than salespeople in our company. That's something which we do because it's a strength for us. That's about the company itself. Let me tell you about our focus. As a company, our focus is to build purpose-built solutions for every platform we choose. And we are very happy that we chose Google early on, and I think we built a purpose-built solution for Google. So I'll tell you more about the solution itself, but that's something we chose. Because the reason is that we believe Google is an excellent platform for partners like us, number one, and great for you guys, much better for you guys, actually. So that's one of the reasons we chose it, and it's purpose-built for the solution for that. That's the second thing. The third thing I want to tell you about is our product itself, right? The product, Haiku, for GCP, it's a fully managed service. We introduced actually last July, so it's been almost going to be 9+ months right now. So we introduced last July. It's been in the marketplace, and we have had excellent coverage from our customers. Customers are very happy, as well as some of our partners who have been very happy with the solution. So you'll definitely hear from Nobusoft more about it. So people ask us, so tell us about why purpose-built. I explicitly said it's a purpose-built solution. People tell me, why purpose-built? What's special about it, right? The key thing is, the way we think about is Google is a platform. When you choose a platform, we believe backup and recovery should be an extended service of the platform. So that's why, because when you guys migrated your solutions or services from your on-prem onto cloud, you wanted a cloud-native solution. That's what you guys are looking for. So let me tell you a little bit about some of the capabilities we offer, and we'll obviously be there later on to even answer any question. The first thing it's a completely born in the cloud solution. Even though as a company, we have worked on many, many solutions, right? I mean, I told you we've been in business for a long time, and we had lots of IP. We said when we moved to the cloud, we said we have to build a cloud-native solution because we wanted you to have the Google Cloud experience. That's the fundamental thing. That's the first thing. The second thing, people talk about scale, right? And we say elastic scale. And the reason is that Google as a platform, that's one of the things they pride on, right? It's the elastic scale nature. Anytime you want to spin up anything, turn off anything. That's the model. People say, what is it to do with the backup? The reason for elastic scale, I say, is you can start with just one virtual machine, subscribe for the Haiku service, start with just one virtual machine, play it out, get comfortable, and then expand it to all your other projects. That is something you can do. The good thing, you can even turn down any of that stuff, and we will only charge you, similar to Google again, we only charge you for just the things compute you use that particular day. So it's a very aligned with the Google philosophy there. The third thing, when we actually started building our solution, obviously our engineers have worked on many different products over years. So we asked them, guys, what should we do differently in this space, apart from being cloud and the cloud benefits? They said, guys, we got to make it simple and intelligent. That's what they said. And that has been a big focus for us. That's one of the reasons to get up and running. I would love to hear Lubosoft's experience from Santiago, but I'll tell you, it's extremely easy to get it up and running, and that's something we pride on. There's no agents or configuration, any of that stuff which is required there. So the simplicity itself, we got to extend it even to all the user management. Let's say, what do I mean by that? So we are fully integrated into the Google's identity management. I'm assuming all of you guys are Google customers here. I'm sure all of you guys set up your infrastructure and your users and privileges in Google IAM. The good thing is that once you set up in Google IAM and there's nothing you got to do in Haiku, Haiku automatically inherits all of the setup you have actually done there. So there is no extra management. The reason this is actually important, when you guys decided to move to the cloud, your people who are managing your infrastructure, predominantly your server and application people, are the ones who move to the cloud. You don't carry a backup administrator to the cloud. Very rarely do you do that, right? So that's one of the reasons we wanted to make sure it's simple, and it is built for the cloud admin, and it is built for people who are actually the regular users of the cloud infrastructure, not necessarily a backup administrator. It's a fundamental philosophy thing, but that is something I think will make your life a lot more easier in the longer run. So the thing also we talk about is that from an infrastructure perspective, once you decided to Google, you are actually building, we wanted to make sure our entire even billing is integrated into your Google. So that's why when you look at your, as I said, backup is an extension of your platform, right? So we wanted to make sure it's fully there, and it is something you will actually see it in Haiku when you use Haiku. Some of the other things I wanted to probably mention is that I talked to you about elastic scale. It completely scales out. The thing about Haiku is that people sometimes ask me saying, why should I choose Haiku? Being in myself, I ask them saying, why did you choose Google first? I ask them the question. The biggest things I hear from customers is it's simple, scalable, and secure. That's what we hear from customers. Some of the topics which Peter mentioned earlier. I said, that's exactly the reason you choose Haiku too. So again, that's me talking. So you probably are thinking that I keep talking about my solution. I think I should probably hear from Novasoft. One last thing I'll tell you about before I actually hand it off to Santiago to give you more information. I talked a lot about the backup and how our infrastructure is. At the end of the day, you're doing backup only for recovery purpose, right? So we got to give you the right levels of granularity, and that is something built into Haiku. You can do file level, folder level, the different levels of databases, and so on. And in case you guys are using Cloud SQL, we actually announced support for Cloud SQL just earlier this week. So that is something, if you should be interested, please do let us and stop by our booth, and we can give you more information. So let me actually stop here and actually pass it on to Santiago. As Peter said, Santiago is it was a very interesting experience working with Santiago here. They are the Google Partner of the Year in Latin America. That's a fantastic thing. And the thing is that they're just not a partner who is actually selling it to other customers. They also are a consumer of the service. So I would love to hear Santiago give his experience. Santiago?
Hi, thank you, Subbiah. Peter, thank you for the introduction. My name is Santiago. I'm the CTO for Nubasoft. As you guys heard, we are a Mexican Google Cloud partner. We've been a Max partner for 8 years now. We started with G Suite a long time ago. Now we've been working with GCP for over 2 years. We have hundreds of clients. And one characteristic of Nubasoft is we are a really automated company. We are only 20 people, and we have over 2,000 clients. We also have a great engineering team internally. So this was getting troublesome. We had many clients, and our engineers were working on this, on having a really good backup solution. What we were doing before is we were working with scripts, we were working with other tools. We had already talked to Google about this, and we couldn't find a way to easily solve this problem. So one day, we received an email from HiQ. We had a call, and the amazing thing was in 5 minutes, we had our first company set up. That was us. Okay, we were the first ones to work with HiQ, and in only 5 minutes, we had a backup, recovery, a great dashboard that we could look at. Customers could log in, as you said, with Google's IAM. It was integrated with Google Billing, so that made it even easier. And then we decided, okay, we're going to talk to the first customers. So 1 customer, 2 customers, 3 customers, and they were all amazed by what we could do with HiQ. So now we had a point-in-time backup. We have a fully managed application-level integrated backup. We had it securely with a lot of flexibility, and it was reliable. And so far, we've implemented dozens of clients at Nubasoft. We get a new HiQ customer every couple days, because as I mentioned, we work with hundreds of clients. And so far, it's been an amazing solution. After the presentation, we're going to have a little QA. If you guys have any question, I think I'm going to hand it over to Petrie. Thank you.
Thank you, Santiago. Thank you, Subbiah. So our next set of speakers are going to be covering our archival and on-prem backup use case. So with that, I'm going to invite Christian on stage, who is the VP of Product Marketing at Cohesity, and Hans, who is the Director of Platform Services from Stanford Medicine. So Hans runs, the services, reliable, secure services for Stanford for the past 13 years, and we're going to hear more about that industry and his experience when it comes to backup and archive. So with that, hand it over to you, Christian.
Great, thank you, Baden. Cohesity addresses the problem of mass data fragmentation. So let me explain to you what this actually means. So you probably have hundreds or thousands of applications, and you back up those applications, the data of those applications into your storage silos. And you probably have 5, 6, 7 different management vendors to do these jobs. So all of this becomes very complex. So there's a lot of organizational and IT complexity in here. And then you probably take copies of this data. You probably take 10 copies of this data, or perhaps even more, for use cases like test dev and so on. And so this really increases just the inefficiency of having all of this data across the organization. And then lastly, this data now is so fragmented and dispersed across the organization, you probably don't even know what data you have and where you have this, and so this exposes you to compliance risks. So we are addressing this kind of problem, this problem of mass data fragmentation, with a single web-scale platform, which spans the cloud, but also on-premises and endpoints. And what we do here, we consolidate all of this complexity in the single platform for use cases such as backup, archiving, disaster recovery, and also test dev and a few other use cases. And you can also download from our marketplace applications to address use cases like anti-ransomware or compliance applications, which then help you to actually get more value out of your backup data. So we radically simplify backup and recovery through this single consolidated platform, and we provide capabilities here like policy-driven automation, which allows you to eliminate scripting and manual processes. We provide Google-like search, which allows you to identify and search and recover individual files or VMs. And lastly, we do all of this by greatly reducing the data footprint. And we're using here features like global variable length deduplication and compression. So, as I mentioned before, we do this across the cloud, on-premises, and endpoints. But just 2 days ago, we launched a new service here at Google Next. So it's called Cohesity Cloud Backup Service. So this is very exciting. That's a backup as a service. And specifically, it provides enterprise-grade backup and recovery for applications running in the Google Cloud. But today, we really want to focus on the hybrid use case. And also here, we make it very easy and seamless to integrate into the Google Cloud. And here, I would like to hand over to Hans from Google, from the Stanford Medical School.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks, Peter. As mentioned, I've been with Stanford Medicine for over 13 years. That's a long time at an organization in the Bay Area. Let me tell you a little background as to why. So the School of Medicine has missions in education, research, and patient care. And Stanford Medicine is on the forefront of digital health and precision medicine. So it's really exciting. But Stanford's mission goes beyond the boundaries of Stanford. We care about healthcare around the world. I'll just give you one example. There's a pediatrics research team that runs a program for the state of California that's saving nearly 1,000 lives a year in California alone. And that program is expanding beyond California. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, me and my team, we do what we know how to do. The researchers do their work and get things into clinical practice. And in 20 years, there will be nearly 20,000 people alive who wouldn't have been. So that's just a really compelling mission to me. So those two things together keep me in place, helping new things happen. So our platform services team is 20 folks. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what we are. We have about 110 critical and important services. I mean, we run hundreds of services, but there's about 110 that are critical. We have 75 distinct customer groups, and that's complexity. We're sort of a little nonprofit business inside Stanford. And we have somewhere between 650 and 700 server instances, mostly virtual. We have about 120 databases, and on-prem we manage about 1/4 petabyte of data. So what's our problem? What were we trying to do? So backup and archive is just a critical service. It's probably the most critical service we offer. We cannot lose data. We have all of the patients and researchers and faculty who depend on us to keep the data safe and secure, private, and available. We also, with our business model, have to transparently pass costs of our archive storage at Google onto our customer groups at Stanford. And so we have to use lots of different Google projects. That's the easiest way for us to do that. We have all the complex backup and archive needs of a large enterprise with all the virtual machines I mentioned. We have bare metal systems, lots of local, centralized storage systems, as well as lots of different operating systems and database technologies. We maintained an aging tape backup solution. It worked, but it kept many people busy safely and securely handling a lot of tapes. And with it, we felt like we needed to do lots of full backups all the time, which really puts load on our production system. So it's not ideal. But we were waiting for the right partner to work with our strategic cloud partner, Google, to help us move forward. And when Cohesity went GA at Google Next 2018, we started working with them right away. So all those folks need us to have those dependable backups, and we felt like we had to back up to cloud. With the 11 nines of durability for the storage that Google provides, that's just better than anything we could do on-prem. And I would say that both Cohesity and Google, with the encryption at rest and at transit, they were meeting our security needs. So Cohesity provides a fully modern backup and archive solution. We have agents where needed with our bare metal systems, but we have deep and full integration with our virtual machine infrastructure and direct interfacing with our central storage solutions. And so that's just so many steps forward for us. And Cohesity's fully hydrated incremental backups let us do full backups much less often, much less load on our production systems. And they're letting us use all the Google projects we might want to use, and it's really easy, and that's fantastic. The recovery of data with Cohesity is excellent. I'd say we really like the ability to immediately recover a virtual machine from that local storage while we move back to normal operations. And the cloud capability is, the recoveries there are just frankly much faster than I would have ever expected. We have about 3/4 of a petabyte now archived on Google Cloud and growing. I also want to say that our partnership with Cohesity, I appreciate it. We have a very complex, nuanced security infrastructure on-prem with like dozens of VLANs, and we've had other people we've talked to in industry basically say, don't do that, that's complicated, and we feel like we have to. So I appreciate that Cohesity's helped us make that work. So we're happy with the solution we have now, but we also look to the future. So Cohesity's features and security and multi-tenancy, we are looking forward to testing, letting other partners in the School of Medicine who have systems we're not centrally managing use our Cohesity system right alongside us, securely and safely, and that's great. And the future with possibly using hybrid and DR solutions, we've already got the data archived out there. If there was some kind of catastrophe, it would be really great to be able to use that for a disaster recovery solution, so we'll be testing that. I'm also very interested in the just announced very low-cost, long-term archive solution that Google announced. We're using cold line storage, and we think that is very cost-effective and performing very well for us, but lower cost, we're very sensitive to cost, so we care a lot about that, and I appreciate that announcement. That was a surprise.
Just for you guys this week.
Thank you.
So.
And I'll look forward to answering any questions
Awesome.
people have afterwards.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. All right, so now we'll talk about disaster recovery use case and how to leverage our partnership with Activia and ETB Financial, also taking advantage of that capability. So on stage, please welcome Patrick, who is an account executive for 2 years at Activia and covers the New England and Canada market. And I hear he's a decent guy as well. So and then Matt is from ETB, the manager of the database and infrastructure, ETB, and in his own words, guys, this is his own words. He's a jack of all trades and a master of as few as he can get away with. I am so taking that. So with that, hand it off to you guys.
Thank you. My name's Patrick. I'm a decent guy, I would say, but we appreciate you guys having us here today and all attending the session. So Activia, we were founded in 2009, and we've grown into a company who has over 3,000 customers around the globe. Our partnership with Google has grown exponentially over the past year especially, and introduced us to great people like Matt and the team over here. So what Activia does, I'll give you a little spiel on us and then let Matt talk for the majority of the time. But what Activia does is we enable enterprises to deliver enterprise data as a service on-prem or in any of the public clouds, specifically focusing on Google for Matt's use case. So what that means is we're really focused on 3 key areas. And the first one is going to be an incremental forever backup. So Activia supports a wide variety of mission-critical applications and databases, Oracle, SQL, SAP HANA, MySQL, Postgres, et cetera. And we're going to take an initial ingest of all of your applications and databases on day 1. Then the end user is going to create a policy where he tells us he wants just those change blocks captured every 6 hours, for example. And then we're going to roll those changes into our master copy. And what this does is it allows our second use case, disaster recovery, where we actually are allowing ATB to have our virtual Activia appliance in one region of GCP and replicating over to a second region in GCP, where they can actually spin up in a disaster scenario multi-terabyte mission-critical databases in a matter of 2 to 3 minutes. So our third use case, and it kind of flows back into the initial ingest I was talking about, is that test data management use case. So, you know, Activia was founded and we thought, we're already taking these backups, so why don't we just reuse these backups that we already have? So what we allow you to do is provision out multiple copies for dev, test, staging, QA, UAT in virtual format, only taking a matter of 2 to 3 minutes. And they're all just using the pointers to point back to our Activia golden copy, so they're not consuming any additional disk space. So it's great for Matt and the team. You know, we were able to help them replicate from one region to the other for multi-terabyte databases and give them the security in a disaster scenario to kind of, you know, be back up and running in a matter of minutes, but also for their DR capabilities, test that in a protected environment. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt. I appreciate you guys coming today, and thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Bader. Just before I get started, I just want to apologize to Patrick that my Blue Jays ruined the Red Sox home opener. I'm sorry, but not really sorry. So thank you, everyone, for coming this morning. So ETB Financial is a 5,500 employee financial institution that provides financial services to people in the province of Alberta. So we are bounded by, you know, kind of the geographical location that we're in. In late 2016, we embarked upon a transformation. And as part of this transformation, we were focused on innovation and collaboration, which led us to adopt G Suite and then partner with Google for our journey to the cloud, so to be a GCP consumer. It was part of this, it was this getting started on the journey to GCP that made us realize that as an SAP partner, we were going to be exposed to new technologies, HANA, Sybase, new to us technologies, that we were going to need, or that we would benefit from a solution of how we could back them up and protect them. Excuse me. So we partnered with Activia because we were able to cover our backup needs, which were system state, file system backups, as well as any of the new database platforms that were part of our journey to the cloud. We were mindful of our costs, and what we really appreciate being able to leverage is the snapshot technology that Activia provides that allows us to use efficient cold line disk that really helps us manage our costs in the cloud. We are also a company that has experienced a data center loss, and so after having that real-life DR opportunity, ATB has put a special focus on having a very resilient and capable DR solution, which brings us to the second part of our partnership with Activia, which is being able to leverage their technologies to protect us in the event of losing a region in GCP, which I know will never happen, Bader, but just in case. We also appreciate the ability to test that DR capability in a protected environment, which makes our DR exercises that much more easy to simulate and takes much less time and manpower to do. And so while our GCP landscape right now is still fairly small, it's growing quickly, and what we've appreciated is the scalability and the ease with which we've been able to expand our Sky appliances, add Sky appliances, so it means that we don't have to over-provision to start, which the people who dole out the money at ATB really appreciate. Yeah, so I mean, that's it for me, so please, I would be happy to answer or talk or any questions, and I'll pass it back to Bader. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. All right, home stretch. It's the last day. It's the last part of the conversation here. Hopefully, you now have a bit more insight into the different use cases for data protection in Google Cloud from hearing from our partners and customers today. So to wrap it up, today we've discussed how data is continuing to grow, and how cloud backup as an opportunity is a growing requirement. And how you can leverage Google Cloud as an extension of your business continuity strategy for backup, archive, and disaster recovery. Again, helping you, leveraging the capabilities that we have that we spoke about to lower your RTOs and RPOs, as well as, leverage that innovation, the security, reliability, and again, that planet scale infrastructure and differentiation that we bring and we're extending to you, our customers and partners. As you saw, we have a large data protection partnership ecosystem, and it continues to grow. And they bring those integral components from a data protection perspective, enabling those badder use cases. This is not a term that we're going to coin, though. So we look to leverage, again, Google Cloud as, this is a different cloud, as you heard this week. Our theme is Google Cloud is a different kind of cloud, and it will allow organizations basically to focus. We want to allow you to focus on growing your business and less about administering and running all these legacy, from a backup NDR perspective, capabilities, leveraging the cloud to go and do backup, do disaster recovery, and let us, Google Cloud and our cloud partners, to take care of those data protection needs.